Welcome to Tales in the Dark, where real-life encounters transform into haunting stories. In Story 9, what starts as a simple night fishing trip under the stars becomes a memory that one high schooler will never forget. When a strange encounter stirs a creeping unease, he'll be left questioning the boundaries between dream and reality, and just how far the shadows stretch. Get ready for night fishing sleep paralysis, and remember, if you crave spine-tingling tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Now, let's step into the shadows. Story 9. Night Fishing Sleep Paralysis. The summer of my junior year in high school was a turning point. After finally earning my driver's license and getting my first car, a well-used 1996 Toyota Corolla, freedom felt limitless. Living in a small Wisconsin town, my friends and I were no strangers to exploring beyond our borders. We'd often head to nearby cities, meeting girls, going to new places, and, above all, fishing. It was a thrill, knowing that this summer was ours to claim, filled with new places and nights under open skies. If we wanted to find good spots for fish, we'd print out our routes on flimsy paper maps, unfolding and refolding them, marking destinations as we went. Chasing fish was like a ritual that summer, the thrill of feeling the line tighten, the splash as they broke the surface. My cell phone, a clunky basic flip phone, didn't do much beyond calling for help if I got lost, so we relied on roads and instinct alone. The Corolla became our chariot, a lifeline to the wider world, and that summer, we pushed it as far as it would go, searching for the best waters to cast our lines and our dreams. One late summer day, a hint of restlessness stirred in us. Regular fishing felt routine, almost predictable. So, someone in the group suggested, how about night fishing? It was a bold idea, promising mystery and challenge. We chose Nekoosa, a tiny town perched along the Wisconsin River, shadowed by a massive aged paper mill. The river near the mill was rumored to hold catfish big enough to put up a real fight, and there was something thrilling about casting lines into murky, unfamiliar waters under a moonlit sky. The drive to Nekoosa was calm, the Corolla purring along empty stretches of road that twisted through pockets of darkened forest. We reached the town just as the sky deepened into dusk, casting long shadows across the empty streets. In the distance, the mill loomed like an ancient giant, silent yet imposing, with its towering stacks and industrial hum. The air smelled faintly metallic, mixed with the earthy dampness of the river nearby. We picked a spot not too far downstream from the mill, where a wide gravel area spread out before the riverbank and a sloped tree line. You had to cross through that line of trees to reach the river's edge. The area felt secluded yet familiar, with a cluster of neighboring houses to the left and the river stretching out to the right. Even at night, you could make out the mill's silhouette in the distance, its smokestacks piercing the sky. By day, we'd noticed the bridge crossing the river, connecting to the other side, but in the dark, it seemed to vanish, leaving only the quiet ripple of the water beyond the trees. My group of friends had a good mix of personalities, each adding something different to our nights out. There was the jokester, always cracking us up, throwing in jokes that kept the vibe light. Then there was the quiet guy. Not much for words, but his steady presence was something we all enjoyed. We also had two other close friends, both loyal and just as eager for adventure as the rest of us. And me. I was the responsible one, the one who drove us around and made sure we all got home safe. I think the guys relied on that, even if they wouldn't say it outright. Altogether, we were 5, a tight-knit group, each bringing something unique to the table, making every outing an experience to remember. At one point, the jokester started in on a story about his latest achievement with a girl he'd been talking to, a tall tale that grew with every word. Grinning, he leaned in and said, "I'm feeling so itchy for some lovin'. I don't care who or what it is. I'd take it all the way with them." He snickered, then added, "At this point, I'm not even scared if it's a super hot ghost girl. I just need some love." The group fell silent, each of us glancing at each other, caught somewhere between laughing and unsettled. Nervously, I broke the silence. "Hey man, maybe don't joke about ghosts. Not while we're out here fishing in the middle of the night." I'd always had a cautious belief in superstitions, a sense that you shouldn't speak about the dead lightly, especially at night, and even more so out here in the dark by the river, with only the moon and distant lights. The others just shrugged, but for a second, a chill settled over us, and I could tell we all felt it. About an hour into fishing, we'd long forgotten the jokester's side comment about ghosts. We were all focused on our lines, hoping for that big catch, when I heard faint footsteps crunching through the small tree line behind us. I paused, ears straining, wondering if anyone else noticed. Not wanting to spook the group, I kept quiet, telling myself it was probably just an animal or my imagination. But as I sat there, feeling the hairs on my neck prickling, I turned to the right and froze. A silhouette stood at the edge of the river, to the right, just beyond the line of trees and at a distance from our group. It was hard to make out any details. All I could see was the shape of a person motionless watching. Nervously, I asked, "Hey, do you guys see that person standing over there?" The others looked up, each of them going silent as their eyes locked onto the figure. It didn't move. Didn't seem to hold any fishing gear. Just stood there, partially obscured by shadows, as though observing us from a distance, trying to shake off the unease. We all joked that it must be someone else out for some night fishing too. But there was something off. The figure wasn't casting a line, nor did it have any gear. No flashlight, no rod, nothing but its stillness. It stood there, occasionally shifting ever so slightly, like it was waiting for something. We tried to ignore it, but every so often one of us would steal a glance, wondering who or what might be standing just at the edge of our night. Nervously, I couldn't shake the feeling that whoever or whatever that figure was, it might not be human. Trying to keep my voice steady, I quickly nudged my friends, signaling that maybe it was time to call it a night. I could feel the tension ripple through the group. No one argued. Silently, we reeled in our lines, packed up our gear, and moved toward the car as fast as we could without running. The drive home quickly turned into a silent nightmare. One by one, my friends drifted off to sleep, leaving me alone with my thoughts on the dark, winding road. The moon cast an eerie glow, softening the edges of the world outside, but still leaving it dark and unsettlingly quiet. Occasionally, a lone car would pass by, its headlights disappearing into the darkness, but otherwise it was just me, the road, and the creeping shadows. Every tree along the roadside twisted in my headlights, casting shapes that looked like figures lurking in the distance, waiting to emerge. With every passing minute, I felt the weight of that night pressing down, expecting to see something, or someone, step out onto the road. Finally, as we neared home, I dropped off 3 of my friends, leaving just me and one other, who had planned to stay over. Yet even with him beside me, the unease lingered, as if something had followed us home, unseen, hiding in the dark corners of my mind. That night, exhaustion hit me the moment I lay down. I crashed on my bed while my friend took the floor, too drained to even dwell on the strange events of the evening. The next morning, we all caught up, laughing and joking about what had happened, piecing together the eerie experience. I reminded the jokester, with a half-serious tone, that he should probably be careful with his words and avoid joking about ghosts on our trips. We all brushed it off as one of those spooky memories, not yet realizing it might linger longer than we expected. The following night, still feeling the fatigue from fishing, I turned in early, drifting in and out of a deep dreamlike state. At some point in the middle of the night, I had a dream unlike any I'd had before. In it, I saw a woman, someone I'd never seen before, strikingly beautiful, with piercing eyes that seemed to look straight into me. But suddenly, her face began to change, twisting into something grotesque. out of a nightmare. Her features distorted, becoming hollow, gaunt, something dark and twisted. The shock jolted me awake, my heart pounding. And then, clear as day, I heard a whisper right by my ear. "Get ready, something is coming." The voice was gone as quickly as it had come, like a breath in the dark. Lying there, still groggy but alert, I listened as footsteps echoed from the far left side of my room, slow and deliberate, drawing closer. My breath caught as the steps came to a stop at the foot of my bed. Frozen in place, I forced my heavy, half-awake eyes to open, my vision still blurred. Through the haze, I saw the silhouette of a woman standing there, her shape barely visible in the shadows. Fear gripped me, and instinctively, I pulled the blanket over my head, hoping it was all just a dream. But then, I felt it, a pressure on the edge of the bed, like someone had climbed onto it. The weight shifted, and I could feel something pressing against my legs, moving slowly up, creeping closer. I couldn't see any hands, but I could feel the pressure, each movement deliberate, inching up my body until it reached my chest. Panic surged through me as a heavy, chilling sensation settled over my whole body, like a thick, cold wind pressing against me, wrapping around me from all sides. It wasn't like any weight I'd ever felt before. It was as if the air itself was dense, heavy, and frigid, enveloping me in a suffocating embrace. I could feel it not just on my skin, but deep inside, as if the coldness had seeped through me, filling me from within and trapping me in place. The sensation blurred the line between inside and out. A weight of air so dense it felt both external and buried under my skin, winding through my veins. I was paralyzed, trapped in a numbness that tingled like electricity, sending waves of icy shock through me. My heart raced, my mind screaming, but no sound escaped me. I couldn't breathe, speak, or move. The room fell into a deafening silence, broken only by my pounding heartbeat. I struggled, desperately trying to kick or scream, to do anything to shake off whatever was holding me down. Minutes felt like hours until, finally, I managed to twitch my fingers. That tiny movement sparked something in me, and with one last surge of strength, I punched the air as hard as I could. In that instant, the pressure lifted, releasing me from the paralysis. Gasping, I scrambled up, reaching for the light switch. Flooding the room with light, I sat there, heart racing, struggling to believe what had just happened. Sleep was out of the question. I stayed up with the lights on until dawn, replaying the night in my mind. When morning finally came, I told my parents everything: our night fishing trip, the strange figure by the river, and the terrifying experience that followed. Concerned, they took me to a relative known for their superstitions, who tied a protective string around my wrist. For the next few days, I kept my light on every night, unable to shake the memory. Over time, I began sleeping with the lights off again, though the memory of that night has stayed with me. I still go night fishing, but now I'm more cautious, always reminding others to watch what they say or do after dark. Some things, I've learned, are better left unspoken. As we close the chapter on this chilling tale, we're reminded that when exploring under the cover of night, respect for the unknown is essential. Taunts and jokes about the supernatural may seem harmless, but the shadows may be listening, and might even take those words as an invitation. In places where light fades and silence deepens, there are mysteries and spirits who linger, and often they ask only for respect. If you honor the dead, they may honor you in return, allowing you safe passage through their realm. But mock them, and you may invite something you're not prepared to face. If you've been captivated by these spine-chilling stories and yearn for more journeys into the unknown, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Because here, in Tales in the Dark, the shadows are never far, and the next story is always waiting.